in theaters is The Running Man, not the Schwarzenegger film. And really kind of put the Schwarzenegger film out of your mind. I know a lot of people are not liking this movie. Up front, I'm going to say I really enjoyed this film. I'm not a giant fan of the Schwarzenegger film. I mean, I've seen it a few times and it's fine for what it is, but I'm sure a lot of people are going into this like I would go into anything that I consider a remake of something I like. It's not the Schwarzenegger film. The Schwarzenegger film really only took the title, the basic concept, and the character names from the Stephen King novel that this is based on and made its own movie. So this is really rather different from the Schwarzenegger film, which is good. I think remakes that go beat for beat to the original are 100% pointless. So this is directed by Edgar Wright, who I like a lot, both as like a person and as a filmmaker. And it stars Glen Powell, who's a very likable guy, as our main hero. I'll give you a basic breakdown of this. Main hero is it's a dystopian future where it's very industrialized. The rich are rich and there are very few. The poor are poor and they're everywhere. And one way people see to get out of their circumstances is to go onto these government-sponsored game shows that are very violent, very offensive. It's a period of time where they're living in where people can cuss on TV and show extreme violence and crudity on TV, which isn't wildly different from what we have right now. And they can go on and win a lot of money and basically save their family, get themselves out of their situation. So our hero in this film, who is Ben Richards, kept wanting to say Ben Chapman, but that's the guy who played Creature from the Black Lagoon on land. Ben Richards, our hero, is a working man, a very honest, noble guy with a bit of a temper and a foul mouth, whose daughter is very sick. He's just been fired from his job for being a whistleblower, and his wife is working as like a server in a bar that maybe some of the waitresses do a little bit more than just serve drinks for money, and she's not necessarily tempted to go and do a little bit more than that, but if she says up front that, if I'm a little extra nice to the guys and make them think they're going to get something, I can get bigger tips. And they're just in financially a very terrible place where they don't know how to make ends meet and they want their daughter to survive. And medicine is extremely cheap. Medical care, I'm laughing because I'm like, how much science fiction is this? Medical care is very expensive and only the elites can get it. And they have to rely on, street doctors or street versions of life-saving drugs that may or may not work, or they'll just dull the pain. So our hero makes a difficult decision to go on one of these games. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. To go on one of these game shows, he's not going to do the Running Man, because the idea of the Running Man game show is three people are sent out into the wild. They are hunted by an elite group of hunters. They're given a bit of a head start, but everybody can basically take video and inform on them and make money. For every one of the hunters that one of the contestants kills, they get an amount of money. And for every day they're out there, they get more and more money. And if they make it past a certain number of days, they win like $1 billion or something like that. So it is a very dark, most dangerous game concept that's turned into TV entertainment. Our hero doesn't want to do that. He wants to go on the show where somebody runs on a hamster wheel and answers trivia questions, because he thinks he can make enough money and he's smart enough to do that. One thing leads to another, and he's on the Running Man, and the movie takes off from there. So it is very slick looking, very good action, very funny at times. I love Glen Powell. I've never been a big fan. He's a likable enough guy. I keep thinking, okay, I'm a huge fan of Smokey and the Bandit. I mean, literally, I can reach out and there's something related to Smokey and the Bandit right there. I hate remakes, but if they had to remake Smokey and the Bandit, and it's, the time has passed for other actors I thought who could have slipped into that bandit role, I think Glen Powell will be okay. He'd also be an okay snowman if we went that way. Anyway, that aside, I like Glen Powell in this. I love his foul-mouthed intensity in this film throughout. How he doesn't want to play by the man's game. He doesn't like the way he's being set up and made out to be a villain in this, when he thought he was just going to try to save his family. The way that the show and the media that is controlled by the network, which basically controls the government, is manipulating reality, manipulating what he's saying and doing to make him into a villain. There's a lot of echoes of the world we live in right now, especially with AI. I mean, those aspects of the story were in the original Stephen King novel, where if our hero tries to say something, part of the thing they have to do is send videotapes out daily or weekly or on the regular. They have to send videotapes back to air on the network to give their thoughts or say whatever they're doing, much like the confessional crap on reality TV. And during some of those, he says some very anti-network, anti-government things. And I guess in the original novel, they redubbed his voice to have him saying things that made the audience want to hate him. Whereas in this, you just see him saying something else, which is the AI world that we currently live in. So it does make reference, although the original book had a lot of this in there too, it does echo things that are going on, which I think good science fiction does that. It echoes the reality we live in, maybe extrapolate it out a little bit in terms of, down the road, what it might be like, or if it's at a worse extreme, what it could be like. So this movie does that. As I say, the action is good. It's very well shot, good score, uses a Tom Jones song. I'm a big Tom Jones fan, so I really like that. The only quibble, cast is really good too, across the board. Michael Cera, who I can be kind of annoyed by, is very good in this. You have Coleman Domingo as the game show host. Richard Dawson played that character in the original film. You have Josh Brolin as a super smarmy network executive, or head of the network, or head of that show. And it all really worked really well for me. And I went in, when I saw the initial trailer, I was like, oh boy, I don't know. But it did seem to have what I love. Every Jackie Chan movie, you want there to be a moment where somebody says, there he is, get him. That's this whole movie. This whole movie is basically just about everybody this guy comes in contact with is there to potentially report him and get him killed so that they can make a little bit of money. So it reflects so much of world history, so much of current history, so much of what we're living through now. And I really, really liked it. Now, I'm seeing a lot of people say they didn't like it. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about bad reviews. I don't know what people were looking for out of this. This is a fun, zippy sci-fi action film. I think a lot of people have a grudge that it's not the Schwarzenegger film. Be happy that it's not the Schwarzenegger film. Be happy that they didn't cast somebody who looks just like him, sounds just like him, going through the same beats. This is really pretty different. So the only quibble I really had was with the ending of the film, which I'm not going to give away. But the ending of the movie happens, but it happens for like a split second, and then something else happens, and it really feels to me like it was studio meddling or audience testing. It really feels like they altered the ending to be more of an upbeat ending than it originally was going to be. It's possible that that was always part of this script. I feel like we're not really going to know that for a little bit of time. Nobody who worked on the movie is going to be like, yeah, people didn't like it, so we changed it. Usually that's what you hear when like the anniversary edition comes out. People can they're not trying to promote the movie in theatrical release anymore. They can kind of let their guard down. But it didn't really make me mad. It felt a little off. It felt a little jumbled and a little rushed at the last minute. Other than that, it was a really fun ride that I really enjoyed, and I would recommend it to just about everybody. It does, because it's a Stephen King universe thing. It works dairy into it, which the original book did too. And William H. Macy is in it also. I forgot to mention, in a nice role, very small role. It has there is sort of an Arnold cameo if you look very quickly in the film. The score is really good. It's really nicely shot, widescreen cinematography for the most part. It seems like it was shot almost entirely in the UK, standing in for the US. So it starts in a city that's sort of like a make-believe city, and eventually he's on the run to try to get as much distance as he can and stay ahead of the bad guys. And they go to Boston at one point, which is just clearly in no way Boston. It's like some movie set somewhere, but it wasn't Boston. And it's just, I really liked it. So I'm going to talk myself in circles if I go on any more than that. But it speaks to a lot of what's going on now if you are concerned with anything that's going on now. And if you're not somebody like me who loathes reality TV and what it's done to the world, then you can maybe take this as an adventure movie. Glen Powell gets almost naked in it, if you're up for that. And that was the other thing that I was marginally disappointed by. Not that I wanted to see Glen Powell naked, but he's a beefy dude. There's a moment where it could have led to some really fun comedic goofiness, and maybe they didn't want to go that way. Maybe he didn't want to show his ass in the movie. I don't know, but it seemed like it could have been very funny in a dumb 80s comedy kind of way at a moment. So anyway, I really enjoyed this. Your mileage may vary. See it in the theater if you can. It was really fun in the theater. If you have the ability to see it in the theater, as this is a new video, if you can see it at an Alamo Drafthouse theater. It had a special thing that was only for the Alamo Drafthouse. It opens with the logo from that network, and then you see Glen Powell in character, and he says something into the camera that had me laughing out loud right before the movie starts. I don't think you're going to get that anywhere else. So in theaters now, streaming forevermore, 2025's Edgar Wright version of The Running Man.